Well, good morning morning still. My name is Amanda Bemis, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share today. I've been a registered nurse for almost 13 years. In June, it will be 13 years. And just this week, on Wednesday, I completed a Master's of Science in Nursing degree. Thank you. So I was in the Family Nurse Practitioner program at USM, and I just completed that. I'll be sitting for boards in a few months. And I just wanted to give you a little background on kind of my story. And I think I was basically born a nurse. I just wasn't one of those people that didn't know what they wanted to do when they grew up. And I think I came out of the womb telling people what they needed to do to be healthy. I remember as a 3-year-old sitting on my grandfather's lap. He was very sick. He was near the end of his life. And I remember having a cup of pills and giving them to him and holding the water so that he could swallow his pills. I remember combing his hair and kind of patting down his flyaways. And I remember when my dad threw his back out one time and I was on the kitchen floor like with a damp paper towel trying to wipe his sweat off his face. And as I got older, I just kind of kept, I remember when my grandmother was just needed help in the bathroom. I was like 12 and I was helping her in the bathroom when she couldn't manage by herself. So as I got older, I just had this desire to learn and understand the functions and processes of the body. I had a particular interest in promoting physical and mental health and wellness rather than just treating sickness. So naturally, when I graduated high school, I went to nursing school, became an RN. And as a new nurse, I was so excited. Are you going to help me? What am I doing wrong? Thank you. That's better. Thank you. I need to talk with my hands, so I couldn't hold the microphone. So yes, I became, as a new nurse, I was just really excited to finally get into the field that I felt like I was born for. I was ready to make a difference in lives and, see babies born and help the elderly pass on into the next life, be there with them and their family, and everything in between. And then when I got my first job, reality set in. I didn't know it at the time, but I look back and it was the beginning of the Lord opening my eyes to see the deception that is just rampant in healthcare. As a new nurse, I was just wide-eyed, trying to keep my head above water, trying to survive every shift that I worked. My idea of nursing was just completely squashed, and I slowly realized that healthcare was just a very large system that had very little to do with health. My day was I would pass the meds, so I'd hurry up, do the morning med pass, in time to start the afternoon med pass, hang the IV antibiotic, change dressings, give meals, check blood sugar, give insulin, check blood pressure, give blood pressure medication. It was just rinse, repeat all the time, just that's what I was doing. And of course there's fulfillment in just the nature of caring for people, but I just knew there was something missing in this approach. And so diet, lifestyle approaches, it was just nowhere to be found. We weren't helping people get better. We were just helping them live longer while they were sick. And we would, serve breakfast in the hospital or in the nursing home of pancakes and maple syrup and side of Yoplait yogurt and a glass of juice, and then wonder why their blood sugar's high. And then I'd come in behind everybody and give them their insulin after their breakfast. And it was that is just how it is. That is healthcare today. Since then, I've worked in a lot of different environments. I've worked in rehab, I've worked in long-term care, in the hospital, home care, and it is all the same. And a few years ago, I finally felt the Lord leading me to pursue becoming a nurse practitioner. And at the time, I was fighting God. I didn't really know why. I was already disgusted with the healthcare system, so I didn't know why I would want to get deeper into it and have more responsibility. But the Lord is always faithful. And during my 4 years in this grad program, I found myself just on a personal journey outside of school, And like I said, I've always taken a natural, more holistic lifestyle approach to my own health. I don't think it has to be complicated. But I began learning about the hidden ingredients in our food that are harmful to our health. That led me to learning about hidden ingredients in our personal care products and our cleaning supplies. And I just kept learning more holistic and natural approaches to health and wellness. Just even treatments for like basic illnesses like the common cold or the GI bug or anything like that. The natural approaches to things actually work better. It's shocking, I know, but and so over the last few years, I've essentially learned how deceived we all are. Foods that are marketed as healthy that are not truly healthy are packaged foods, personal care products, and cleaning supplies. Like I said, it's all just laden with toxic ingredients, and we don't even know it. So my biggest takeaway so far is that health is not complicated or unattainable, especially in the kingdom of God. We all know John 10:10, probably, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy, and I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. And I know we as Christians interpret this with, spiritual eyes, the enemy's against us, trying to destroy our eternity, keep us separate from God like he is, and God sent Jesus to save us. And I believe that with all my heart, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's it. I don't think it's just our eternity. I think it's our life here. The enemy hates us so much. If he can't get us to hell, he's going to make us really sick and miserable here. So today, we're going to talk about food. We're going to define it, evaluate if the things we're eating are actually food. So it's going to be fun. Some of you, I think, might track with me the whole time. Some of you might not. Some of you may feel overwhelmed with the information I share, but I just want to come back to God's ways are not complicated. I promise by the end of tomorrow, you're going to walk away with tangible, practical things that you can implement into your life. Today's talk is going to be a lot about pointing out the poisons. Tomorrow's is going to be more practical ways that you can make changes or start to enhance a healthy lifestyle. I'd like to play this video now. Not that. Yeah.
I love this one over food. Sometimes we pray over food and ask God to make up for our bad choices when we eat. That's funny. No matter what it is, Lord, bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. Lord, bless this bag of Cheetos. And this jumbo Dr. Pepper, Lord. Somehow make this nourish us in some way. I don't know how you're going to do it, Father, but we just trust in you now. Father, change the molecular structure of this food. This complete trash we're about to shove in our gullet. Change the Cheeto into a carrot stick on the way down. Spirit of low carb, rain down on me now. I pray a hedge of protection around my pancreas, Lord. Right now. Intervene.
So that's kind of what we do sometimes. I'm hoping that we can get away from that, okay? So, okay. I do have I can't actually see that the slides are moving, so I'm going to have to look back. So food. We're going to start with a definition. It's a substance consisting essentially of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and other nutrients used in the body of an organism to sustain growth and vital processes to furnish energy. So I just want to get that out there. Try to remember that, the definition of food, because we're going to just keep asking, is this really food that we're putting in our body? The Food and Drug Administration, I also want to just put out there. It is, this I got right from the website, like I took a screenshot. So, the Food and Drug Administration is responsible for protecting the public health by assuring the safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, medical devices, our nation's food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation. And my favorite, the FDA also provides accurate, science-based health information to the public. Okay, so just, that's what they're there for, in case you were wondering. So, again, the question is that really food that you're eating? I have kind of a list of the things we're going to talk about today. You can see it up there. It's by no means a comprehensive list, but it's what we're going to cover today. So what do all these things have in common that are not these ones, the next ones? That, I just said it, it's food dye. So food dye, some of these may be really obvious, like I think the rainbow cake, we'd all know there's food dye in that, but maybe not the pickles. Or the balsamic vinegar, that's what that is in the top left corner. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So what is food dye? It is any dye, pigment, or substance that imparts color when added to food or drink. The purpose of it is to make food more attractive, appealing, appetizing, and informative. It's to offset color loss due to exposure to light, air, temperature extremes, moisture and storage conditions. Correct natural variations in color, and also enhance colors that also occur naturally. So, great. Provide color to colorless and fun foods, and allow consumers to identify products on site, like candy flavors or medication dosages. So, is that food? I'd argue food dye does not meet the definition of food, protein, fat, carbohydrate, or other nutrient that the body uses to furnish energy. So I want to just see what does our trusted FDA say. So the FDA approves and regulates the use of color additives in our foods and cosmetic products, drugs, and medical devices. So this is Linda Katz. She's a medical doctor and has a master's in public health. She's a director of the Office of Cosmetics and Colors in FDA's Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition. So she says, and I quote, "Color additives are very safe when used properly. There is no such thing as absolute safety of any substance. In the case of a new color additive, the FDA determines if there is a reasonable certainty of no harm under the color additive's proposed conditions of use." So, thanks, Linda. So I just did a kind of a brief search on some actual studies to see what the studies say. And I'm going to go through these kind of fast, but one review of literature found that 9 U.S. approved dyes raise health concerns. Red 3 causes cancer in animals. And, fun fact, the FDA has actually banned its use in cosmetics, but still allows it in food. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6 have been contaminated with benzidine and other carcinogens. Blue 1, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6 cause hypersensitivity reactions. And numerous microbiological and rodent studies of yellow 5 were positive for genotoxicity, meaning it alters your DNA. Artificial food color exclusion. So this one is basically a study that was done with people that have ADHD, and they took food dye out of their diet for a period of time, and their ADHD symptoms improved, meaning they got better. There is a link between dyes and increased ADHD and hyperactivity behaviors in children. Red 40 contains benzene, which is a known carcinogen. And I'm just going to pause on benzene for a minute because I decided to look at the CDC website and see what they had to say about benzene because it's a known carcinogen, right? So, cancer causing. Yes, thank you. So benzene is a chemical that is a colorless or light yellow liquid, has sweet odor and highly flammable. It's natural sources, so it comes from volcanoes, forest fires. It's a natural part of crude oil, gasoline, and cigarette smoke. Industries use benzene to make other chemicals that are used to make plastics, resins, nylon, synthetic fibers. It's also used to make some types of lubricants, rubbers, dyes, detergents, drugs, and pesticides. So, again, this is directly from the CDC. How does benzene work in the body? It works by causing cells not to work correctly. For example, it can cause bone marrow not to produce enough red blood cells, which can lead to anemia. It can also damage the immune system by changing blood levels of antibodies and causing the loss of white blood cells. And this is all from the CDC. Like, you guys can look up on their website benzene and read all, like I copied it. So eating foods or drinking beverages containing high levels of benzene can cause the following symptoms. You can see them all right there. And again, the seriousness of poisoning caused by benzene, it depends on the amount, the route, the length of time of exposure. I'm not suggesting that if you have some red, I forget which red, 40, that you're going to be poisoned with benzene. But why is something that's only purpose is to make a colorless food look more appealing, that is known to contain a carcinogen like benzene, allowed in our food? So, back to my friend Linda, not this Linda, but Linda Katz over here. Thanks. We're going to cover a lot more than just food dye today, but all the things that we're going to talk about are approved by the FDA, or else they wouldn't be in our foods today. Food dye is banned in many other countries, as is a lot of the things that I'm going to cover. And many food manufacturers will make different versions of their products for the UK or for Canada than they do for US. Gatorade, Haribo, the candy company, Quaker cereals, just to name a few, but I mean, it's like endless. They make it different for the US than they do in other countries. So I guess what I want to bring us all back to is, do we need the FDA? Do we need studies to answer the question, is it really food? Because I can think for myself, I think you all can think for yourself. Food dye is not food. It has no nutritive value or benefit. Its mere purpose is just to trick us, basically. I could tell you before studies and before the FDA had an opinion about it, if that is not something we should put in our bodies. And I think the biggest takeaway here is to start thinking for ourselves. A little bit more about the FDA, I just want to cover really quickly, is the FDA funding. There's two sources, and one of them is just the Treasury's general fund. The other one, though, that I want to talk about is the user fees. So essentially, the FDA is there, as we know, to regulate these agencies like the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry. Like, they've got a whole list of, I think, 6, I don't know, a handful of industries, essentially, that they regulate. These industries all have to pay the FDA in order to be regulated. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. It seems to me like there's a potential for a conflict of interest. And now we can move on to oils. So I can't cover every single oil today, obviously, but I'm going to talk about canola oil and extra virgin olive oil. Canola oil, there's no such thing as a natural canola plant. It actually comes from Canada, and so Canada and oil, Ola canola. And it was created by crossbreeding the rapeseed plant. So I'm just going to read through how canola oil is made. So step 1 is cleaning the seeds. That seems reasonable. Step 2, heating and flaking. Canola is heated and flaked before extraction so more oil can be released. After heating, the seed is passed through rollers to gently rupture the cell walls and flake the seed to just the right thickness. Step 3 is seed cooking. The flakes go through a series of heating drums or stack-type cookers. This ruptures more cells and optimizes the viscosity of the oil and moisture of the flakes for the processes ahead. Then there's pressing. The cooked flakes then go through a series of screw presses or expellers for mild pressing. This process removes most of the oil and compresses the rest of the seed into cake. Step 5 is solvent extraction. To remove the remaining oil, the pressed cake is put into an extractor and saturated with a solvent called hexane. The solvent percolates through the cake and carries nearly all of the remaining oil away. The hexane is then removed from the oil and solids, reused and recycled. Step 6, further oil refining and processing as if it didn't need any more. Crude canola oil is further refined to improve the color, flavor, and shelf life. Additionally, if anybody uses margarine or shortening, canola oil that's made into margarine or shortening goes through hydrogenation, a further process in which molecules of hydrogen are pumped into the oil to change its chemical structure. So is canola oil healthy? Well, it's low in saturated fat, so it's heart healthy. Many studies on canola oil's supposed health benefits seem to be sponsored by the canola industry. The current available studies that I could find suggest that canola oil is linked to increased inflammation and oxidative stress. It can negatively impact your memory and increase your body weight. So extra virgin olive oil is, those are olives. That's a real fruit, is what it's called. So olive oil is produced from the first pressing, which is performed within 24 to 72 hours of harvesting. Mechanical or hand pressing are the only methods used to obtain extra virgin olive oil. There's no heat or chemicals used. So, is extra virgin olive oil healthy? There's a nice big long list of all the things that it's associated with. I don't know that I need to read them all out loud to you, but, that's there.
So, which one's good?
I am so glad you asked. So, we could go to the next slide. Which one is real food? I feel like you guys know the answer to this. So, a genetically modified plant created by humans that undergoes a long chemical process in order to produce it, or a fruit from a tree that's pressed and the oil is put into a bottle. Again, I don't think we need a study or the FDA to give us an opinion. I'm going to choose olive oil. It's the one that's real food. Again, God's ways are not that complicated. Also, I just want to point out that, and I'm gonna keep coming back to this, but real food not only doesn't cause disease, but it actually fights disease. God's pretty cool that way. Stuff he makes is actually good. So I wanted to cover smoke point, and I am reminded that I have a handout. If you guys didn't get it at the registration table, Christine has it, but it's a guide to cooking with oils. And it covers all the oils maybe not every oil, but it covers a lot, kind of talks about temperature and all that. But smoke point's the temperature at which oil will stop glistening, and it basically burns or smokes instead. And when that happens, the compounds in the oil break down and it loses its nutritive value. So oil heating past its smoke point, the fat breaks down, it releases free radicals, which essentially are unstable atoms that can damage cells, and it can cause illness and aging. So heating oils past their smoke points can make a healthy oil unhealthy. So this guide will be really helpful just to know which ones are good to fry like in a pan versus putting in the oven, or things like that. But I have a list also of oils to avoid, oils to incorporate. You can see that, but that's also on the handout that's coming around right now. So now we're going to move on to sugar. So oh, they're not on there? Okay. So sugar, I think everybody knows sugar is not good for you. But there's a nice list here of things that I found sugar is associated with. It can cause your liver to store fat, causing fatty liver disease. It can lead to high blood pressure. It can lead to chronically high insulin levels, which eventually causes diabetes. It can elevate your cholesterol levels. It's linked to Alzheimer's disease. It's addictive, so the more you have it, the more your body wants it. It disables your appetite control, so it basically stops your brain from being able to say, done eating, because that's so good, I want more. It can cause depression. And I'd say probably most people who even consider themselves fairly health conscious still have way more sugar in a day than they think they do. And I'm going to show you why, but first I want to go through the American Heart Association's recommendations for daily added sugar limits. So men, the recommendation is 36 grams of sugar or less, and women, it's 25 grams or less. And you can see this, it shows a teaspoon, 6 versus 9. And probably most of you are like, there's no way I have that much sugar in a day. And then for children, these are my cute little girls when they were really little. No, because she was under 2, and so she couldn't have any sugar. And Gabriella was over 2, and she was allowed to have 25 grams of sugar. So again, just remember, men, 36 grams. Women, children 2 and older, 25 grams. Children 2 and under should have 0. So, next is, so I don't know if anybody's heard of the Food Babe, or her name is Vani Hari, but if you haven't, I recommend that you go to her website. If you're on social media, follow her. She's got some really great images and, information. She's got a cookbook that's really helpful. So she here just kind of brings out how many grams of sugar are in things that are pretty much eaten every day. I think some of this, like Noosa, for example, 1 Noosa yogurt has more than a woman or child should have in a day of added sugar. The Cliff protein bar, you might think that's healthy. It's full of sugar. Oatmeal. These little packaged oatmeals with the flavor, you think you're having something healthy. It's already a carbohydrate, and adding sugar to it is just giving you more. Things that might be more surprising, wheat thins, like I feel like those are marketed as like a really healthy cracker. They're not. They have sugar too, and some other things. And, tomato sauce, that doesn't need sugar. That has 11 grams in a serving. And also, I'm going to talk about a few more in a minute, but just think about, these are per serving. So if you're having, you got to look, because sometimes a serving is like half a cracker or something. So, you got to actually maybe calculate what you're actually eating. So the next one, I have a few slides of just this is from the Food Babe. It's just hidden sugar bombs is what she calls it, in certain things. So granola, 14, 10, 13, 10 grams of sugar in these brands, and that's in half a cup. So if you think about that 29 grams of sugar you get in the yogurt, and then you add some granola to it, you're having more than you should, in 2 days at that point. Oatmeal, there's, Quaker, Nature Valley, I can't read what that brand is, but then there's Irish oatmeal, 21 grams 16, 11, 13, it's a lot of sugar. Pasta sauce, I listed a few here, 11 grams, 8, 9, 7. If you're not specifically looking for these products without added sugar, you're getting sugar in everything. The next one, dressing, and this kind of goes for ketchup, barbecue sauce, like all the condiments, they're full of sugar. 7 grams, 10 grams, 4. It's literally everywhere you turn. And the reason they do this is because sugar is addictive. And so, you don't need your salad dressing to be sweet. You don't need your tomato sauce to be sweet. You don't need your crackers to be sweet. It's sweet, or they add the sugar into it because it's addicting. And this is how the food companies get us to keep buying their products. So how about the things that we know are sugar? I just want to kind of put it into perspective. So Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, like a pack of 2, 22 grams of sugar. So this is when you know, like, oh, I'm having a little treat, but this is on top of all the other sugar that you're having in the day. Snickers bar has more than a woman or child should have, and almost nearly what a man should have in a day. I'm not going to read through all of them, but it's a lot. I do want to just touch on the apple juice at the bottom. So 20 grams of sugar, that's not added sugar, but for those of you that don't know, juice is not healthy in any way. I literally look at juice like sometimes I really want some orange juice and it's so good with my eggs and bacon, and I get it, it's good. But it's a treat because you get so much sugar all at once. God made the fruit with the fiber and like to be eaten as a whole piece of food, not squeeze a bunch of, apples. I mean, I don't know how many apples it takes to make a cup of apple juice, but I think it's more than one. And so our bodies aren't, like, God didn't design for us to have that much juice from a fruit he created all at once. Like, our bodies shouldn't drink 20 grams of sugar, especially, I mean, that's a kid's drink, right? Like, kids drink this. So even though it's not added sugar, just juice in general is not the greatest. So what about other sweeteners? No. They're not. So artificial sweeteners can contribute to high insulin levels, lead to slower metabolism. They increase the risk of heart health issues. They negatively skew the good to bad bacterial ratio in your gut. They cause blood sugar instability. They retrain your taste buds to crave sugar and fat-filled foods instead of fruits and vegetables. And they cause weight gain. High fructose corn syrup, it leads to increased risk of weight gain, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and dementia. So I can't pick apart every single one, but I'm picking apart Splenda. I don't know. So, I love their advertising because did you know that it's the only leading 0-calorie sweetener 100% made in the USA? Does that make you feel better about it? And they give you little, like encouraging phrases on their packets, like every day is a new opportunity, and you got this. Be your best today. Sparkle. And you can see 0 calories really big on there. But I'm going to zoom in on the ingredients. We're just going to go through really quickly these ingredients. So dextrose is very similar to glucose. It usually comes from corn or wheat. It can be quickly used as a source of energy by the human body. Has a high glycemic index, which means that it increases your blood sugar levels really quickly. It's associated with weight gain, heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, insulin resistance, depression, and skin conditions. Okay, maltodextrin. It's a type of carbohydrate that undergoes intense processing. It comes in the form of white powder from rice, corn, wheat, or potato starch. It's cooked, then acids or enzymes are added to break it down more. It's used as an additive to replace sugar and improve texture, shelf life, and taste. It has a higher glycemic index than table sugar, so it brings your blood sugar up higher than sugar. It can it can reduce the number of good bacteria and increase harmful bacteria in your gut, causing gastroenteritis and other inflammatory issues. It's a simple carbohydrate, so it can increase weight. And then sucralose is made from sugar in a multi-step chemical process in which 3 hydroxyl groups are replaced with 3 chlorine atoms. It is 600 times sweeter than sugar. Its weight loss and gain studies are very inconclusive. Some have shown weight loss, some have maintained weight, some have gained weight. I don't really care. The gut microbiome studies on rodents show that sucralose upset the microbiome balance, and that can lead to increased inflammation, obesity, diabetes, and much more. It's addictive like sugar, and common adverse effects, GI problems, seizures, dizziness, and migraines, blurred vision, allergic reactions, and weight gain, blood sugar increases, and weight gain. And it's still considered safe by the FDA. So, again, thanks, Linda. So what sweetener should I use? Because I'm not saying you can't have any sugar, but you want to choose whatever's closest to real food. So this is a list of several. I don't think I'm going to go through every single one of these, but monk fruit, it's derived from a dried monk fruit. It has 0 calories and carbs. It does not increase your blood sugar levels. It can promote weight loss and actually has anti-inflammatory properties. Coconut sugar, and honey, those are both still sugar, so they're still going to increase it's still got a glycemic index. It's still going to affect your blood sugar. But coconut sugar is high in iron, zinc, calcium, potassium, and antioxidants. Again, the things that God creates actually fight disease. Honey, also high in amino acids, vitamins, minerals, iron, zinc, and antioxidants. It has anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antioxidant properties. Honey, actually, there's studies that prove that honey works better than cough syrup for a cough, and it's used in wounds. Like I've done wound care as a nurse, and there's a product called Meta Honey, and it's essentially honey in a tube that you put on a wound and it gets better. Stevia is made from the stevia plant. It has no carbs, no calories, no artificial ingredients. Maple syrup, still a sugar, but it's really high in a lot of different nutrients. And then allulose and erythritol, they are both sugar alcohols. Allulose has 90% fewer calories than sugar. It's essentially from figs and raisins. It doesn't affect your blood sugar or insulin in the way that sugar does, so it's really good for people that are following a keto diet or have diabetes or insulin resistance. Erythritol, it's caused by fermenting the sugars found in cornstarch, and it doesn't cause a blood sugar spike either. But ultimately, whether you're adding like a sugar alcohol or honey or any of these, it really shouldn't be a staple in your diet. You should be limited, and your goal should just, again, like come back to what's the real food. If you're going to have a sweetener, pick something that's real. Okay, so preservatives and other additives. So I have just a kind of quick list. These are things that are in nearly every packaged processed fast food, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. I know, sorry. So I'm just going to go through the list. Carrageenan. It is a thickener found in milk substitutes like soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, even organic ones. It's found in ice cream like Dairy Queen, Starbucks. It's found in like Chick-fil-A's shakes, all of that. It is linked to colon cancer and inflammation. MSG, it'll never be listed as MSG. I don't think I've ever seen those 3 letters because everybody's like, ooh, MSG is bad, but they put the big long name on a sodium glutamate. Again, I think just to trick you. Used to make you crave and eat more than you should. It causes obesity. It's found in all fast food. Most chips, snacks, food, Or snack foods, seasoning blends, like when you buy your Hidden Valley Ranch packet to make your dip. Frozen meals, soups, processed meats, condiments. Yeah, yep, flavor enhancer. Chinese food, yep. So that's a thing that's everywhere. Natural flavors, so that's talk about trying to trick us, right? So it's essentially a secret mixture that they won't tell you what's in it, and they call it natural flavors. It can be made of, 80 to 90% made up of solvents, emulsifiers, flavor enhancers, and preservatives. And it is the fourth most common ingredient listed on food labels. So it's essentially another one to make you keep coming back for more. Enriched wheat, bleached wheat flour, essentially stripped of fiber and nutrients, and then enriched with fake vitamins. So another preservative is BHT. So this one is linked to cancer. It's an endocrine disruptor that interferes with hormones. It can affect signaling from our gut to brain, which tells us to stop eating. Again, can contribute to overeating and obesity. Another example here is wheat thins. So in the US, our wheat thins have BHT in the liner of the packaging, and it's made to leach into the crackers. So wheat thins in Canada contain no BHT because it's banned there. So they can do it, they just don't for us. TBHQ, it's another preservative that may weaken the immune system, increase the risk of food allergies. Again, it's allowed in food, banned in Europe. It's found in things, I'm so sorry, but it's found in things like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. There are alternatives out there, though. Found in crackers, cereals. Titanium dioxide is a whitening agent known to be genotoxic. Again, allowed in the US, not in Europe. And dimethyl polysiloxane, it's found in many fast foods like Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, etc. The main ingredient, it is the main ingredient in silly putty. So, yeah. So, it's only every once in a while though, right? It's not. So I hope at this point you're starting to see that it's not only every once in a while. The ingredients that we talked about are absolutely everywhere. So start looking at labels, thinking about how much sugar, inflammatory oils, preservatives, food dyes you're ingesting. If you're a parent, please think about this for your kids, and as a grandparent as well, think about this for your grandkids. I'm going to talk more on this tomorrow. Like I said, today was more like I'm pointing out this stuff, but I'm not trying to leave you feeling overwhelmed or hopeless. Tomorrow I'm going to talk more practical things, what I do for, myself, my family, my patients. I know this can feel really overwhelming, and I'm going to kind of walk through this with you. I say it all the time that it does not have to be all or nothing. So when you're on a health journey, it does not need to be all or nothing. It can feel like, oh my goodness, I need to go home and throw everything in my pantry away, empty my fridge, and now I have nothing to eat and I don't know what to buy. That is not the point here. But you can start picking some things and start just slowly working on it. I think just understanding and knowing what these ingredients are and how much of it is secretly in our food is 90% of the battle. It's easier to fight something when you know that it's attacking you. Thank you.